Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Victor Planning Board meeting for the 25th of October. I'd like to start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands. Tonight's agenda has five items on it. The first two, however, have been removed until the November 9th meeting. That would be the Strong Road subdivision at 1086 Strong Road and Valvoline on County Route 42. So those two have been removed from the agenda. I should start with some announcements. The emergency exits are left and right from the sides of the conference room here. Restrooms are out the door and in the back. In the hallway. Please be sure to sign the attendance sheet if you haven't already at the back of the meeting room, even if you're a developer and are presenting an application. There are business cards at the back table next to the sign-in sheet to take with you if you'd like, with the email address and phone number of the planning department. Also on the back table is a copy of the resolutions that will be read tonight in draft form along with the agendas. Please turn off your cell phones or silence them. And if you have any conversations you wish to have amongst yourselves, please take it out into the hallway and close the doors. So with that, I will. We have some meeting minutes that Lisa distributed this afternoon, but I think we'll hold off until I haven't looked at them. I think, Al, you probably didn't either, correct? No, so I would prefer to give everyone a chance to review them. I don't have a record of any correspondence we received. And as far as board and committee updates, Ed's here.
Just very quickly, last night at the town board meeting, the town board did adopt the 2023 budget. So we're all set with that going forward, just so everybody knows. Basically, the townwide tax levy is going to be flat, but it won't look like that to you when you see your tax bill. And a part of that has to do with the equalization rate. In years past, the equalization rate was at 99. This year, because of a whole bunch of stuff that's going on, it's down to 89%. Okay? So there's an adjustment there, which actually caused us to adjust the rate per thousand. So that's going to go up. So a lot of people see the rate per thousand and it's like sticker shock. But the total tax bill, as we see it, in most cases, will actually go down a couple dollars for an individual resident. Okay, that's it.
Given the increase in property values and all the other expenses we have, not pleasant news, but thanks for being the messenger. Nothing else, right? Anybody got any questions?
Thanks. And Mike's unnecessarily absent, so he'll be back next meeting,
Okay.
as far as I know.
Lisa,
The next meeting is Wednesday, November 9th, due to voting here in the town hall on the 8th. So Wednesday is our next meeting. Like Joe said, 1086 Strong Road subdivision is going to be carried over onto the November 9th, and also Valvoline on County Road 42 will be on the November 9th. New public hearing is 212 Whistle Stop site plan located at 212 Whistle Stop Road. Applicant is requesting approval to construct a 1,700 square foot story home with a sports court on 18.2 acre parcel. Crown Castle Verizon located at 795 Old Dutch Road. Applicant is requesting approval to modify and upgrade equipment on an existing wireless facility with proposed extension of fencing and a concrete pad at ground level. Go Car Wash sign, 607-609 Raleigh Road. Applicant is requesting approval to remove the existing Royal Car Wash signage and replace with 3 new same-size signs for Go Car Wash. The Lollipop freestanding sign is proposed to have a new sign face and the pole and sign cabinet to be repainted. Your last public hearing will be Tanat Geotherm, located at 344 Thornbush Drive. Applicant is requesting approval to install a geothermal heat pump on their parcel. And any carryovers, which I don't care.
so Go Car Wash is formerly Royal, correct?
Formerly rural, yep.
Because we have Royal on
Yep.
the agenda this evening, so I'm assuming it's one and the same. Any questions for Lisa? I do want to make a note that we have 2 meetings left in the year, one in November and one in December, correct?
Yes.
So this is our only upcoming November meeting, and there's one in December, middle of the month.
I believe 13th.
Okay, that's a Tuesday, correct?
Tuesday, yep.
Okay. So with that information dispersed, the first item this evening, Crown Castle Verizon on Benson Road. Applicant is requesting approval to modify and upgrade the equipment on an existing wireless facility. Good evening.
Good evening. Brian Tempio with NBNC, representing Verizon for Crown. We're looking to upgrade the antennas at the existing height.
Are the antennas any higher than what's out there? You're just
They're
replacing
smaller,
one
actually.
from-
They're
Correct?
2 foot tall,
Okay.
5 inches wide.
Oh, that's tiny. Okay, anyone? Al, any questions?
No questions.
Matt? Joe? Okay. Pretty straightforward. I think you guys have provided the appropriate information, engineering and otherwise, for the tower. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And also, it really isn't a visual impact, so we should be very straightforward. I do have a draft resolution. We need to close the public hearing, so I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll move.
Al moves. Second. Joe seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public hearing is closed. And I will read the draft resolution. Crown Castle, DBA Verizon Wireless on Benson Road, whereas the planning board made the following findings of fact, and there are 10 of them. I assume, Wes, you didn't have any comments?
Correct. No comments from Labella.
Okay, thank you. So those 10, and as I said, there is a copy in the back if anyone wishes to follow along. Now therefore be resolved that the application of Lamar Freeman, Crown Castle, on behalf of Verizon, site plan entitled Verizon Project located at Benson Road, drawn by B&T GRP, received by the Planning Board September 15th for a special use permit received by the Planning Board on September 15th, 2022. Planning Board application number 8 SU 2022 be approved with the following conditions. Conditions to be addressed prior to chairman's signature on the plans. It's a standard condition. Ongoing conditions, both of them are standard as well. And be it further resolved that the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. Do I hear a motion for approval of?
I'll move it.
Scott moves.
Second.
Joe seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Have a good evening. Second item, the aforementioned Royal Car Wash site modification. Applicant is requesting approval to construct a third stacking lane with pay island, 15 additional vacuum stalls, and 5 employee parking stalls, and I believe this is identical to the previously approved.
That's correct, yes. My name is Anthony Daniele with Royal Car Wash, representing the actual applicant, which is MDC Coast 24 LLC, which is the actual owner of both the car wash parcel proper and the acquired additional parcel, which I believe have been submitted for formal subdivision as one. We understand that was part of it. And this site plan and the plan hasn't changed since 2020, when we were before this board for this approval, and we apologize that it took this long to get this far, and unfortunately our approval expired, so we're back again basically with the identical application seeking the same approval. We have now purchased the property from the Thruway Authority, and that was the holdup. It just took that long for the Attorney General and all the Albany offices to sign off, and so we're finally there. We did receive comments from Labella. There were 5 comments. Most of them are pretty simple. I think probably the one most relevant to this board is the comment regarding the landscaping and lighting plan, that there were 3 light poles that were not actually clearly identified, and the light candles were not very legible. You had to try really hard. So obviously, before we get those signed off, we will make sure that those plans are adjusted to address not only that comment, but certainly the other 4 comments from Labella. And I think the biggest issue back a couple years ago, issue. The biggest talk that we had was about landscaping, and the town's contractor, Zaretsky, did review it then, made some suggestions, which we incorporated, and it looks like he reviewed this again and is satisfied that, the plan still meets those requests, which we intend to honor. So if there's any
just-
questions.
Yeah, just to review again, there are no changes, and the landscaping, as I understand it, the landscaping is mostly trees in front of the new parking? Or,
So there are 4 trees,
areas?
as you can see on the top of the plan up on the screen there, top left corner. The
Yeah.
darker ones, those are new trees, and then there's a line of landscaping. And that's what was added per the comments last time.
Okay,
And then there's another comment that was made, maybe there are 6 trees. So I think the 2 along the back are also new trees, if I'm not
These 2 here?
mistaken. They're either there and will be protected or new and planted. I can't recall, but that was one of the comments from LaBella, was just making sure that any of the existing trees that were not scheduled to be removed are protected, which they will be.
open up to the board. Joe, any questions?
I took a look at the landscaping again. I noted the Conservation Board's comments, and Bruce Zaretsky is happy with everything. So those were my concerns, and I'm good now. So thank you.
Great. Scott?
I have no comments.
Al?
No questions or comments.
Okay. Wes, do you need to review anything with us?
Yeah, I'll just chime in here real briefly, just to confirm for the planning board. I think you've already heard it from the applicant, and Chairman, I think you've said it as well. The plan that they submitted is identical to the Mylars that were signed a year or 2 ago that
2.
that have expired. I was able to confirm that. So, but this also gave me a second bite at the apple with the review. So that's why there are 4 or 5 minor comments here that we made. Nothing really that we missed previously. One is just adding a signature block to each of the plan sheets. I think I now understand a little bit more about the boundary line adjustment. The topsoil removal, is that going to stay on site where you're going to be excavating for the new parking and?
I believe so. There really is not much cut fill. There's actually a little bit of fill, but that's most likely going to be with stone, since it's going to be under the parking lot. So I would anticipate that a very shallow layer of topsoil may be taken off site.
Gotcha. Okay. And one of the second to last comment that we made probably doesn't have so much to do with the planning board and follow through with you guys, but more so the planning and zoning office. We had suggested as an idea that maybe just prior to the town issuing a building permit for this project is that they require the property owner to go out and put up the tree protection detail that's identified in this plan, just so that the trees that are identified to be preserved aren't mistakenly removed from the site. And that's the extent of our comments.
So that would be a note to the, the zoning code enforcement, I guess, to make sure that that's done prior to issuing the permit?
Yeah, and the reason for that is there have been other projects throughout the town, not this project specifically, but we've noticed that on some approved site plans or subdivision plans, there have been trees identified that were to have been preserved. However, when the contractor actually gets out there, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes we find that trees actually get removed that were intended to be preserved. That's the kind of the purpose behind the comment.
Okay.
It's a good comment.
Yeah. And you're satisfied with the lighting levels and things?
Yeah, I think so. We'll take a final look with the foot candles that are applied to, or that will be a little more legible on the next plan.
Yeah,
We'll make
okay.
sure that that's okay.
All right. Public hearing, we have to close it. Okay, before I do that, Susie, any comments? I didn't ask that the last one. Okay, nothing online, and I assume the public has no comment. So I'll entertain a motion to close.
I'll move.
Al moves.
I'll second.
Scott seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. Anyone else have any questions, comments for the applicant? Guess we're set there. So, thank you. I will, we do have a draft resolution for approval on this, so we'll read it. Right. For the Royal Car Wash Site Modification, 607 to 609 Rowley Road, application 27 SP 2022. Whereas the planning board made the following findings in fact, and there are 15 of them, including Labella's comments in item 15, October 25th, 2022. Whereas the Town of Victor Planning Board reviewed the unlisted action on October 25th, 2022, and identified no significant impacts. Now therefore be it resolved that the project Royal Car Wash site modification will not have a significant impact on the environment, and a negative declaration be prepared. And be it further, now therefore be resolved that the application of MDC Coast 24 LLC, 2851 Monroe Avenue, Rochester, New York, site plan entitled Royal Car Wash Site Modification, drawn by Passero Associates, dated September 2020, last revised December 7th, 2021. Says December 7th, 2022 on here. December?
December 7th.
Last revision, 2020. Okay, December 7th, 2020. Received by Planning Board September 20th, 2022. Planning Board application 27 SP 2020 be approved with the following conditions. Conditions that need to be addressed prior to chairman's signature on the site plan. Number two, one is standard. Number two, the comments in the letter dated October 25th, 2022 from Labella Associates be addressed. Ongoing conditions, and there are two of them standard. The third one, that landscaping elements consisting of 6 green vase, saw leaf, Zelkova, and 12 neon flash spirea noted on the landscaping plans intended to screen the new parking and vacuum area from the adjacent roadway be perpetually maintained as an effective screen between the facility and New York State Route 96, and that if any of the aforementioned landscaping fails to provide as an effective screen due to death or disease of any one or a number of particular trees, shrubs, or bushes, the vegetation be replaced with the same or equivalent trees, shrubs, or bushes in a timely manner so as to provide the perpetual screening desired by the planning board. And be it further resolved that the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. Do I hear a motion for approval?
Joe, the shrubs are mentioned on that condition, but the 6 trees are not. The 6 green base, solid Zelkova are trees, I'm not sure. They are trees? Okay, thanks.
6 green vase, saw leaf, Zelkova, I assume those are trees.
Okay, I didn't recognize them. Never mind.
Is that a native species? I don't know.
Does sound like a bush, I give you.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move.
Joe moves,
I'll second.
Al seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried 4-0. Thanks,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Back in 2 years for you.
Okay, the final item on the agenda for this evening is the final subdivision plan, Fairways Phase 3 re-subdivision, lots 303 and 316. Applicant is requesting approval for re-subdivision of lots 303 and 316 into 8 individual townhomes. Good evening.
Evening. Andrew Burns, Passero Associates, representing Champion Reserve in the previously approved Fairways Phase 3 Townhome Project. I believe we've been before you guys for the subdivision approval a few times as a condition per the original project approval. Tonight we're here for buildings 303 and 316, both being subdivided into 4 parcels for a total of 8. As you just said, no significant changes from the previously approved plans. We did receive minor comments this morning from Labella, which we have already addressed. I believe there was a comment about the revisions block and some of the dates on there, so that has been addressed. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions the board has.
Al?
No questions.
Scott?
I don't think, so. This is the same thing that we've done before, where
Yeah.
you're basically as-builting the buildings and tweaking the property lines to agree with the party walls?
Correct.
Okay.
Joe?
Not entirely related to this, but when This phase was first proposed, and it was going to connect with Gillis Road. There was a discussion about adding a left turn lane on Gillis Road. And then we had some discussion about maybe not doing the turning lane, but then improving the sight lines for people exiting Gillis Road. And
High Street?
Yeah, onto High Street. And it occurred to me yesterday afternoon, or this afternoon, I was reviewing, that I don't know how we resolved that, if anything was ever decided that needed to be done or was going to be done.
Good question. Wes?
Yeah, so I can give a little bit of an update on that. We had asked Passero to provide an updated traffic study, given that, I can't remember when this was initially reviewed, I think in 2006, is when the seeker finding statement was completed. And at that time, it was found that something would maybe need to be done upon full build-out. Something would need to be done at the intersection of High Street and Gillis Road. So the updated traffic study that Passero provided was reviewed by Jennifer McNevich of CPL, the town's traffic consultant. And initially, she had some comments and concerns that the study was not adequate. So Passero did some revisions to that study and provided that back to the town, which was then, again, referred to CPL. And the findings, just to very briefly summarize, I don't know the exact wording, but my understanding is that it was found that given the existing conditions, the full built out of this project, that there was no warrant to require an additional turn lane at Gillis Road and High Street. Maybe what I could do with Kim is circle back with the correspondence that we received from CPL and share that with this board, if there are, so that we can close the loop on that
I remember
question.
the discussion about the turn lane, but then
Yep.
we had further discussion about actual sight distances based on foliage and things that were, present at the intersection there.
Okay,
And that's kind of what I'm unclear about, if we actually brought any closure to that.
okay. Yeah, let me revisit that with Kim, and we can go into the previous planning board minutes, and I'd like to look at that discussion about, the site distance and, removing any vegetation, if that was something that we were going to require.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how it ended, because there was a discussion about the stop sign and stop line placement.
Right.
And people tend to stop maybe 6 feet past that stop line just to gain visibility onto High Street. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
if you could, Wes, that'd be great.
Yes, will
And I
do.
don't think it's got a bearing on our resolution here, but it's just kind of an open item in my mind.
Yep, okay.
I agree with what you're saying. I don't think we closed up on it, but I also think it was kind of a complicated analysis as I saw it, because we talked about putting in a right turn lane, but then the nature of that intersection is that people tend to creep out, and that then you're kind of facilitating that condition when you
Yeah.
put that right turn lane in, and I think we sort of left it in a static situation, if I remember right.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But I think it's good to bring it up. Not that we, are going to hold you up, but it's just part of your project in a somewhat indirect way.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm not sure what the solution is for that one, quite honestly.
It was a difficult scenario when they first provided a potential alternative there at the intersection, right? Because they did provide a plan that showed a second turn lane, but it was not to what standards would require for turn lanes. It was a little more narrow than what would typically be safe and appropriate. It would take up any shoulder room for pedestrians, bicyclists, that sort of thing. And yeah, I do recall the configuration of the stop sign and the stop line, and that being a difficult issue too. So yeah, let's take a look at that, and we can circle back with you guys.
And I think in its present condition, I don't know if there's a stacking problem or not. I haven't really seen one, but I think in its present condition, it actually kind of chokes the traffic a little bit and reduces the feed of cars out onto High Street because of its current condition. In other words, it may actually be doing something positive. There may not be necessarily a negative there. That's how I see it and I drive by quite frequently, but it's just a matter of time before, more residents live in that area and we get more traffic and it becomes problematic from the stacking perspective, I suppose.
Okay.
Wasn't the site plan modified to provide for that extra right turn lane? Adding a little bit more to Gillis Road? So going east on Gillis, there would be an
Are we talking
off.
about a different intersection, though?
Yeah, that's a different.
Which
There's
intersection
a
are we
right
talking
turn from Gillis into the subdivision.
Right.
We're talking about, remember, the proposed left turn lane from Gillis.
From
on the
Gillis
house.
in, yeah, but has that right turn lane been put in, is kind of where I was going.
Yes, I saw it the other
Yeah,
day, actually.
okay. I can't, the last time I went through, I don't recall. So it's not something you look at every day. So, okay. Anything else, Wes?
No, they've addressed our comments. There was nothing really substantive for Labella to comment on, just some minor things with the legend, so we're all set.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else on the board have any questions? We're all set? Okay, that's fine. Motion to close the public hearing? No? No public hearing. I like it.
Move.
Got that one wrong. Okay. We don't need it.
So moved.
All right, so I do have a draft resolution for this application. Whereas Planning Board made the following findings of fact, application 06 FS 2022 for the Fairways Phase 3 Championship Drive application. There are 3 whereases. Now therefore be resolved that the final subdivision application of the Fairways Townhomes LLC, final subdivision entitled lots 303 and 316 of the Fairways, Phase 3, drawn by Passero Associates, dated drawing number 2020-3040.0004, dated September 2022, received by the Planning Board Secretary September 20th, 2022, Planning Board Application 6FS 2022, be approved with the following conditions. Conditions that must be met prior to chairman signing the final subdivision plan. Items 1, 2, and 3 are standard. Comments from Labella Associates dated October 25th be addressed. Number 5, the subdivision which was approved on May 22nd, 2007 be modified, and the application of Fairway Townhouses LLC dated June 7th, 2022 for a modification of the approved subdivision be granted, provided that the developer comply with all conditions stated in the prior final subdivision approval dated May 22nd, 2007, and further complies with the requirements herein. Conditions that are ongoing, standard conditions that must be adhered to. Item 1 is standard. Item 2 is standard. Item 3, that in the event the created lot lines do not coincide with the constructed buildings, an administrative lot line adjustment is possible, providing all regulations are complied with. And be it further resolved that the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. Do I hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
Joe moves.
I'll second.
Scott seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried 4-0. Okay, anyone have anything else before we adjourn?
Nope.
Entertain a
Move to adjourn.
motion. Joe moves.
Second.
Discussion. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks.
Try to get it out.